Throughout my years of middle school, I've been considered a political enthusiast. From debating people and discovering truths, to having blood vessels popping out of my head. So naturally, I was super excited to watch the 2020 presidential debate, until I heard Trump say nothing about US smart, and Biden responding, "You're a clown." Although watching the first presidential debate might have seemed comedic, we need to remember that this is a presidential debate. It shouldn't have felt like I was watching a Dave Chappelle special. If we reflect upon this debate, we see that there's a real epidemic that is haunting our country: partisan politics. As political analyst Bill Scheider states, the political environment in the US is the most divided since the Civil War. If we leave issues to nature, they will only get worse. That's why we need to raise awareness for partisan politics. Today, we will examine the causes and effects for partisan politics before finally fabricating solutions that will repair the cracks that store our country. For centuries, we have been warned by political figures about the formation of parties. Washington stated in his farewell address, warning us about the formation of political parties. This goes on to be more self-evident during the Civil War, the Union against the evils of slavery and the Confederacy for the evils of slavery. This shows how far people are willing to fight for what their ideologies are. Throughout the Civil War, there was separation of family and bloodshed. Both fought neck and neck to fight for the ultimate truth, which all men are created equal. If we go further into the future, to 1954 through 1968, we'll see that there's an uprising divide. At this time, we're in the Civil Rights era. Above the Supreme Court, there's an inscription which states, "Equal justice under the law." This would finally be applied to African Americans. Fast forward to the early 21st century, when it became nearly impossible to sit in the same room with someone with differing political beliefs. When President Obama was elected, the right severely criticized him. When President Trump was elected, the left severely criticized him. Currently, we are living in the apex of a partisan division. It is sad to say that the brotherly and sisterly love that was shared to start this nation has disintegrated. Over the span of 224 years, it is clearly shown that the divide between the right and the left are extremely tense. As we fail to heed George Washington's advice, Americans find it harder to repair the cracks that haunt our society. At the founding of our nation, Washington warned us about political parties. He said, "It agitates the community with ill-founded ideas, jealousies, and false alarms, kindles the animosity of one part against another, foments occasional riot and insurrection." If we reflect on this piece of advice, Washington is warning us that political parties lead to unjustified jealousies and false information, hostility between the two parties, riots, and violent uprisings against the government. Right now, we sadly fall under all the criteria Washington was warning us about. Never in my life have I felt so divided from my fellow American. I don't mean this because of COVID-19 and social distancing, but rather because we have to pick a side instead of fighting for what we believe is right. As Abraham Lincoln once stated, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Who are these people that Abraham Lincoln is talking about? Well, he's talking about the American people, both Union and Confederate. He's creating a sense of unity. Even though the South lost the war, they are still the people. As the fractionation and separation of Republicans and Democrats occur, it makes it easier for man to see man as enemy rather than brother. The American people don't remember what it feels like to be united. They only know what it feels like to be divided. The varieties of age, race, ethnicity, gender, educational attainment, religious affiliation make the defining qualities of our nation. These factors make America such a unique place. However, now we don't view these factors the same way. We see that voters must consistently share views with their party, same as people. Just because Republicans are Republicans and Democrats are Democrats, they must despise the other party. This has gone so far that it even affects who people marry. Parents feel less comfortable with their children marrying someone with differing political beliefs. One day, when I was talking with some friends, we talked about what we wanted to be when we grew up. However, all of a sudden, it just turned into a highly political discussion. The wrong gesture or look could set everyone off. When I told my friends what I believed, they got so emotional and upset that we stopped talking. I realized that I upset them, and I felt sick to my stomach. Because at that point, I knew I didn't want to be that person. Who knows if what I believe was correct or what my friends believed was correct. However, at that time, it doesn't matter. The only thing, because we couldn't treat each other as human beings. As we look outside our windows, we see American cities that have been destroyed and crime rates are increasing, as reported by the Department of Justice. More and more of our fellow Americans are being killed and assaulted as time goes on. It is clear that due to the media, they have amplified and participated in worsening partisan politics and dividing Americans even more. Instead of giving us the whole story, they give us fractions of it. Instead of giving us the truth, they give us their opinions. They give stories out of context, dehumanize people with different beliefs, and support and glorify people who fit their narrative. A study was conducted by Joe Kelly with the Courthouse News Service. It showed that 84% of people believe that the media is responsible for the partisanship in the U.S. It doesn't help that the media outlets that are supposed to fight for the people, by the people, and with the people are not. In America, there are 5 main differences in ideologies that people of both parties cannot agree with: gun policies, racial attitudes, climate change, social safety, and immigration. The differences span from 43% to 58%. For all of these beliefs, the majority of Democrats and Republicans cannot agree with each other. Due to the fact that they cannot agree with each other, it makes it harder for policies that can help the American public pass, which causes the cracks to widen. It's okay if people cannot agree on fundamental doctrines of thought. However, when people cannot sit down civilly and with respect, this is where the problem occurs. It'd be great to snap our fingers and get rid of the problem. However, the only thing in between the thought and the outcome is action. The action that we can take today is simple: getting to know people. By getting to know people, it reduces prejudice. It stops stereotyping Republicans as pro-gun and anti-abortion maniacs and all Democrats as anti-gun and pro-abortion libtards. When I used to debate people, I thought right when they mentioned a policy they'd like to see enacted that they were either liberal or conservative. I sat down with them and we talked. I was astonished to see that not all of their beliefs corresponded with their party's beliefs. It would be later in my life that I realized that that's okay. People can have differing beliefs. America was founded on different beliefs, in fact. But by not agreeing with your party 100%, you understand each individual policy even more. It also helps to view Republicans and Democrats as people with feelings. This will help to get rid of Republican and Democrat policies and create American policies. As we look back, as we go in the future, we'll ask ourselves, what does it mean to be an American? Well, there's so many defining qualities of being an American, which are to have all the freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, that we are born free and we will remain free. We currently live in the age of spin, where Democrats give propaganda against Republicans and Republicans give propaganda against Democrats. This needs to stop. We need to realize that there is no red America or blue America. There's the United States of America. There is no Christian America, Jewish America, Islamic America. There's the United States of America. There's no white America, black America, Asian America. There's the United States of America that thrives off of the basic principles of life, liberty, and justice for all. Thank you.